Hey friends, it's Friday. You know what that means? It means 5 fundraising tips in 15 minutes. We're coming at you again this week. Theme for this week: passion. It's Super Bowl weekend. Everybody's like passionate about football. I was at an event last night. It was freezing cold, and nobody cared because they were passionate about the actual organization they were there to support. I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I feel in the air. I don't know. It's not the chill. It's not the wind chill or anything like that. I think it's just I'm exhausted from being passionate. How in the heck do I get that back? Okay. So we're going to get 5 fundraising tips for being passionate starting now. All right. So I'm going to suggest all of you take an adopt a llama approach. What's that mean, Patrick? Oh, I'm going to tell you, okay? So the idea of adopt a llama is you have to make your ask irresistible, okay? If you got an email and said, hey, I'd like you to adopt a llama, and you're like, I've never had the opportunity to adopt a llama before, I'm in. Tell me more details on this, right? So passionate fundraising is not necessarily about the ask, right? It's about making your cause impossible to ignore. And you may feel at this time that there's a lot of noise, there's too many organizations who are vying for the same money. You might have that sitting in the back of your brain, and it's probably driving you a bit insane, right? So we're going to take a cue from like a fundraiser who can convince you that a llama, or sponsor a mural, or fund a community center, all in the same breath kind of person, is going to be your muse. Okay? So here's the idea. Create sort of like a wildly engaging sponsorship opportunity, right? So everyone's got the platinum, they've got the gold, they've got the thing. It's all the freaking same, right? So instead of donate $100, and here's what you get, right? Make it something like join your changemaker circle and fuel a child's future, right? Way more compelling, way better, a lot more passion rather than give me $100. And I think we've gotten so conditioned to make sure that we're making the ask, or I need to make sure I'm doing all of these things. It's driving everybody insane because you can't keep that up forever and ever and ever. So we got to find something interesting. Find your niche, right? I have a friend of mine who runs an animal sanctuary who happens to have a llama, and it's Salvador Llama. Like, it's the greatest thing in the entire world. And there's no one who scrolls past the idea of there's a llama sitting in an animal sanctuary and fly over North Dakota that isn't like super interested in that. And that makes it compelling. I know that dogs and I know that cats are very important, but if you've got a llama involved, holy crap, I'm stopping scrolling and I'm going to do something about it, right? And you're not just joining a please give Sal food. You're joining the Llama Llama Super Awesome Club. I've read Llama Llama Red Pajama to 1.5 million kids that are sitting in my house. It's amazing. And so if you can lean into not even ridiculous, lean into the thing that makes you excited about talking about it, right? Please don't do the give me $25 and you can do X, Y, and Z. It's find the Changemaker Circle, find the Llama Llama Club, find your Llama Llama Club at your organization and lean into that because dang it, people are going to stop and they're going to at least be interested in what you said. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you need to have passion-driven storytelling. I can't tell you how many times in the last couple of weeks I have gotten an appeal letter or something else that sounds exactly like it was churned out of ChatGPT. It all sounds the same. There is zero difference in a handful of these things that I read. It's almost as if they just took the same prompt and they just put it through the same thing and they just changed the words of the organization. There's nothing there that lights me up. There's no passion under it. It's just I need to get this done and get this out, right? That's a very big problem. So passion, can't tell, is contagious. You want to make people run through a wall for your organization. The best way to make people feel like that, your stories. So here's your idea, okay? Find your best tiny moment of magic. It doesn't have to be you've changed the world and revolutionized, you've got a cure for cancer kind of thing. People can relate to small moments of miracles that your organization does. I think that is unbelievably important, especially when you are trying to figure out how to capture somebody's attention, right? So the kid whose life was changed, the dog who found a home, the community center that was the second home for someone or some group. Share it in an email, share it in video on your phone, doesn't matter. Share it at your live events, wherever you can. Show the impact, not just the need. A lot of individuals, and I mean a lot of individuals, get really tied up in this, like, I have to find some sort of formulatic thing that I can tell a story with, right? We had a problem and then we got a solution and it was all your thing. That's great. I want to know that, but I also want to know why I should care. I say this a lot to nonprofits, and it stings a little bit when you hear it, is like, I don't care about your organization. There's in North Dakota alone, there's like 6,500 nonprofits. We don't even have 750,000 people here, for God's sakes. It's a ton. I don't have time to care for them all. I'm not aligned with all of them. That's okay. But if you're going to get me to pay attention to it, you gotta come out hot. And it's gotta be something that I resonate with. And I resonate with, as many people do, personalized stories that make a difference. They cannot be generic. They cannot be, I'm just going to throw this out there and I hope it sticks kind of attitude. That doesn't cut it. It never has. It never will. So you got to find some sort of passionate piece. And then when you're talking with people in the field or you're having a conversation over coffee, you can link one of these really cool little tiny moments that your organization did to the person who's telling the story. That's like, I really like dogs. So don't tell them about cats. Tell them about dogs. Find your passion, story-driven bit. Okay? Number 3, I think you should fundraise like a 5th grader. You've never heard that before. Well, that happens to be a book coming out March 17th. I'll tell you more about that later. But I think you need to go all in the way that kids do, right? Kids don't overthink. They don't worry. They don't worry about being cool until they get to like teenagers, right? 5th graders don't. They just believe. They're just passionate about stuff. And I want you to take advice from someone who's 10 years old and just go all in with what you are doing. I've told a lot of people, listen, when my kids are like cleaning their room or they're doing the dishes and they're leaving dishes out or they don't clean up their stuff, don't half-ass it. Whole ass one thing. There's your piece of advice, right? Fundraise like a 5th grader, whole ass everything, right? So here's your idea. I think you should take something ordinary, and like my good friend Dana DeVell said, make it extraordinary, okay? Host a crazy and fun and over-the-top event that makes no sense to anybody else, but you gotta lean all in, right? Try a no grown-up scala. I don't know if that's gonna work. That seems like a fun idea, right? A color outside the lines art auction where kids create all the centerpieces or kids create all the pieces that, whatever. Be bold about it. And don't be afraid or nervous that it won't be like great. Because you don't know, right? If you're eccentric enough to do something kind of rebellious and kind of interesting and kind of cool, people are going to lean like, I've never heard of that thing. I kind of want to try it, right? One of the organizations locally in town did a musical chairs event. Did it raise $1 billion? Probably not. Did it get a ton of people interested in an organization they probably didn't even know that existed? Abso-freaking-lutely. And now it's your job to, once you get them there, because you've got this crazy passionate idea that you've leaned all in on, now you got them captured in a room, and now you can do your best to like explain why they need to care. But your passionate involvement in creating something so outside of the box and so weird, just like a 5th grader would, right? They don't think about necessarily the consequences of it, but they lean in. And the fact that you get the opportunity to do that as a nonprofit leader is unbelievable. You are sitting in the driver's seat being able to do whatever you want to do. And no one's going to tell you that it's a dumb idea except your own brain. So go all in. Act like the 5th grader that you know you have sitting inside. If you don't have a 5th grader, borrow mine. Just pepper him with questions and he'll give you a bunch of ideas. Or some random kid on the block. They'll give you a bunch of them. But go all in. Fundraise like a 5th grader. Book coming out March 17th on Amazon. Written by yours truly. Okay, number 4. Okay, this is kind of a cool one. Okay, turn your ask into an invitation. That doesn't sound very passionate. Yes, it is. You're not going to support something that you don't care about, right? So I've seen so many asks that have the vibe of like, I need your support. Okay? That's great. It's fine. It works. It's the basic of the basic. It's the most vanilla thing that you can say. I prefer something along like, you need to be a part of this. Whoa, where'd that come from? I do? Why? Tell me more about this, right? That's next level. That's next level fundraising. That's next level asks. Instead of, I need your support, brother, I need your support in this. There's a difference. There's a sense of urgency and there's a sense of like excitement behind that line rather than just, please give me money, please. Please, sir, can I have some more? Don't Oliver this stuff. Get passionate about it. Dang it. I've only had several cups of coffee this morning, not two. You need to have like 4 cups of coffee level of passion when you're actually inviting someone to do that, right? Passionate fundraising is not about asking for money. It's weird coming from somebody who does fundraising for a living. I understand it. But it's inviting people to something bigger, to make a bigger impact than they knew they could or knew they should. Okay? Does that make sense? I know it makes sense. You nod along. This makes sense. So here's the idea. Instead of just saying, we're raising money for X, which is, again, it's fine. Okay? Instead of saying we're raising for X, go, this is a movement and we need you in it. Change the tone. Make it feel like the mission, not a donation. That's a good line. You should use that. Make it feel like the mission, not just a donation. And if they're not a part of this, they are not a part of the change they want to make. And I think that's a really interesting thing. That's a little bit of FOMO. It puts you like, why are you saying all these things? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me, right? And I think if we take that look, if we take a look at like what our asks are, does it sound blah? Does it sound like everyone else's? Does it sound exciting? Does it sound passionate? That's the point. It's okay to turn on the passion nozzle a little bit. I've seen so many people who get the technical aspects of fundraising right. They set the table, they set the mood, they talk about impact, but it feels, ugh. There's no light under it. It is okay to get emotional. It's okay to get passionate. It's okay to get fired up because all you're going to do is get other people fired up. Your favorite person who's like right before a sports team, right? You're going to watch the Super Bowl this weekend. What are they doing right before the game? They're firing each other up. They're yelling at each other. They're getting all stoked. And then they run on the field and try to, tackle each other. That's kind of passion, right? Fundraise like that. 5th one, last one, okay? This is more woo-woo, but I'm giving it to you anyway because of the times we live in. Let's just say that, okay? Reignite your passion first. There's a lot of people, I just want to take a moment. There's a lot of people who are just feeling a little down, feeling a little hopeless, feeling a little bit like whatever I do, I can't gain traction sort of attitude. If that's you, take a breath, take a beat, take a breath, okay? If you're not feeling it, if you're in a slump, your donors aren't going to feel it either. So you need to go back to your why. Ask yourself this question. Why on earth did I take this job? Because it clearly wasn't money. Womp womp. We'll work on that. But why did you take this job? More importantly, why do you stay? What is the thing that keeps you up and going, God, I am gonna dominate this. This is the reason why I do this. I'll give you a small example. I worked at the Ann Carlson Center, which is just one of the most remarkable organizations that I've ever been a part of. And I was walking down the hall bitching and moaning about a spreadsheet that I had to do for a budget. I hate budgets. I hate numbers. Hate spreadsheets. Don't like being told what to do, right? Just complaining about it. I watch down the hall, kids screaming down the hall. Just, can't catch me, running down the hall. This place is for the Ann Carlson Center. It's a place for individuals who would not be alive, but for the grace of God or miracle of science. And this kid was told by his doctors at birth, he'd never walk, never talk. And he's running down the hallway, laughing at his teachers, following him. DSPs are following him. I'm laughing. They're like, stop him. I'm like, nope, that's your job. I loved it. And I think back to that story about like why I did the work that I did and how hard I worked because of that. Find your why. Reignite your passion. Because if you don't like it, nobody else is, okay? So take one day. Take a random day and just reconnect with your impact, your vision, your why, okay? Visit a program. Interview somebody who's been a benefit of your program. Read old thank you notes, for God's sakes. I know you keep them around. That's the only thing that we keep, right? Because it keeps us sane. Channel that fire into a fundraising push, and that's how you're going to get this done. I cannot stress enough, if you don't have this ball of fire underneath you, it's gross to walk into work because you just have nothing to push, okay? It's okay to take a pause and just go, I got this. We're fine. It's gonna be okay because I know exactly why I do what I do. Revisit the program, read thank you notes, ask somebody who's been helpful about the organization itself, and look at that, 15 minutes on the nuts. I hope this helps. Honestly, I have been kind of in the back of my brain going, this is kind of a weird feeling. I needed to get out the passion a little bit. So I hope this helps you. Thanks for sticking around for another 5 fundraising ideas in 15 minutes on a Friday. Hope it helps. Let me know what you are sparked with, your passion. What gets you up and did I miss something? Tell me. I want to know. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you next week for another episode of 5 fundraising ideas in 15 minutes. Woo!